It looks like teams are scrambling to get the Chicago Bears #1 overall pick. Let's talk about it. What is going on, y'all? Faiz Sports all back at it with another video talking, of course, man, NFL here to talk about the Chicago Bears and here to talk about the news that multiple teams reportedly are scrambling to go ahead and get the Chicago Bears #1 overall pick. This is per Ian Rappaport, who we know is one of the most plugged-in reporters in the NFL. And when guys like him, Shefty, guys like those come out and say stuff like this, we got to pay attention. All right, so let's talk about this more in detail and talk about what exactly Ian Rappaport said. And I quote, "I would say the interest in Ryan Poles' #1 pick for the Chicago Bears is significant, and the QB performances that we saw at the Combine really bolstered that. There's a lot of interest in some high-profile quarterbacks, more so than in previous years, so you do have those teams scrambling to get up to #1. I would expect those trade talks to really heat up over the next couple of weeks here. Ryan Poles is going to have options. It seems, I would say more likely than not, that he ends up dealing that #1 pick and has a chance to really set the foundation for the Chicago Bears as they rebuild everything," end quote. All right, a lot to unpack there from Ian Rappaport, but let's just start by saying this. All right, he mentioned that the interest in the #1 overall pick is significant. We have been knowing that, but it's good to get confirmation. And then he said that there is more interest this year in trading up than previous years. And that is because of what I mentioned earlier in another video, which is that the Combine really kind of put things into perspective for a lot of teams, which is a lot of the other quarterbacks not named Bryce Young showed out, and now teams want them. Anthony Richardson, guys like that. Obviously, C.J. Stroud made his case even better. Will Levi's, like, there's guys out there, man, and teams are going to want to move up here. Now, we already know that the Houston Texans and the Indianapolis Colts are the main kind of suitors here, and they probably have the most kind of advantage here, being that they have the second and fourth pick. But I really feel like this report that Rappaport talked about is talking about those teams outside the top 5. I'm thinking the Panthers and the Raiders. Those are the two teams that kind of come to mind here, especially the Panthers, man. I really think they're going to be aggressive because they've been just going through so much QB turmoil with Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield and just having to deal with all of that. I think they just want to go ahead and get the guy of their future. They don't have that on the roster at all. The Raiders just look like an absolute incompetent mess after just telling Derek Carr to, leave and not having a backup. So these are the two teams where they really, really need to get things right here. And if they're able to do that by trading up for that #1 pick, then they could get that right. So I really think these are the scrambling teams that Ian Rappaport is talking about. Now, it certainly could be the Texans, certainly could be the Colts, but they've been kind of in on this. And I think when we saw these quarterbacks kind of show up and show out at the Combine, those teams that are lower told themselves, like, yo, we got to move up. We have to move up. Like, that's the guy I want. Like, what if the Panthers, I'm just saying, for example, were like, okay, yeah, C.J. Stroud, that's our guy. He's the real deal. We need to get him. And they know C.J. Stroud's not going to slip past the Texans. Well, if the Texans end up taking Bryce Young. But he's not going to slip past both the Texans and the Colts most likely. And certainly not going to drop all the way till 9, right, C.J. Stroud. And so they're like, we have to move up to #1. And so that's kind of what I feel like this report is about, with teams scrambling, right? They see the guy at the Combine. It kind of reassures what they thought. They were like, okay, C.J. Stroud is my guy, and I really think he could be the one. And then boom, at the Combine, it just goes through the roof. Or, for example, it doesn't have to be for the #1 overall pick. It could be the Bears trading down and another team even trading up with them. Let's say if the Bears traded down with the Colts to #4. Some team could want to get Anthony Richardson, right? Just an example. So, yeah, man, things are getting really interesting here. The Combine really highlighted that. And, yeah, we're getting a lot of desperate teams here. Let's just see what it is with the packages. Do I think that we get a trade done soon? I don't. I still think this is a waiting game closer to the draft. It's pretty unprecedented right now to get a trade done this early, even before free agency starts. I think it's going to happen, a little bit before the draft, a few weeks out maybe. And the reason I say that is, one, precedent, right? That is how things have usually played out. And number two, I just feel like Ryan Poles is smart enough to know that unless a team just completely gives them everything that they're looking for right away, that a better offer is always going to be out there. And so he's going to probably play the waiting game. So be patient, guys. But the reward at the end seems to be something that is going to be worth waiting for, because we're getting teams scrambling, if you will. So let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment down below as always. Thanks for watching.